From Christian High School on Fridays to Snapdragon Stadium on Saturdays to making an NFL roster for Sundays, San Diego resident Jesse Matthews is living the football dream.
It's been great, man. I'm living my dream. Getting to play football in the NFL is something that I always dreamed of since I was 4 or 5 years old, and to be walking in that dream is pretty surreal.
A dream that had to be put on hold after suffering a knee injury in his first season with the Houston Texans.
I've played football since I was 4 years old, and the worst injury I had was ankle sprain. And I've been very fortunate throughout my career with injuries. So, tearing my ACL was a kind of a huge shock to the system. But I tried to take on a positive mindset as much as I could, and I looked at it as a challenge. I haven't really been tested in this area of my life, and let's see what character I have. How can I form my character?
I think for so many sports fans, they look at it from an outside perspective when it comes to injuries. It's all physical, like, okay, he'll be back in 3 weeks, or he's questionable this week. What's the mental aspect of that? The rehab's one thing when you're going into the rehab training, but what's the mental side, especially when you're at a side where you don't have guarantees? You come in as an undrafted. How did you deal with the mental aspect of it? The mental side, I think, is definitely more than half the battle. Physically, you're going to get your strength back, you're going to get your explosiveness back, but trusting your knee or trusting whatever injury or whatever body part that you injured again is definitely the battle. There's still barriers, there's still mental challenges that I faced today, and I know it's still going to be an ongoing journey, but I know that I'm on the right path, and I know I've worked as hard as I could, so you got to trust the work that I put in. And then how did it feel to land in Atlanta with the Falcons?
It was surreal. The whole experience was a blessing. Going into about July, I didn't know if I had any teams that were going to reach out, but then by the grace of God, I had 5 to 6 to 7 teams reach out and wanting to work me out. But it was definitely nerve-wracking going into these different facilities and trying to get out in front of the GMs and scouts. I think I matured a lot through that experience.
We were able to get a catch in the preseason, but you've been on the practice squad kind of this whole way through the regular season. You haven't had a chance to get your first NFL regular season catch. Have you thought about that moment at all? Have you thought about what that might feel like once you finally get a first catch or a first touchdown?
I have thought about it, but also trying to stay present in the moment. And of course you think about, first catch, first touchdown, all those things. And I know that moment will be special, and I know it's going to come eventually, but until it comes, I got to just keep working. And, I want to make a roster. I want to make the roster. I want to play on Sundays. I want to, be a contributing factor on an NFL team. That's always the goal. I think there's a lot more in store for me. I'm going to keep working to achieve those dreams of mine.
From Claremont, I'm Chase Isidoro.